me where she realized she had to just do a year of no. Like, no, everything's gonna be a no unless I really realize and want it to be a yes. And then you'd be able to sit with it because otherwise you realize you're just people pleasing and you're just doing it for what reason? You just feel like you're just doing and doing and doing and doing. That I feel like now finally I'm kind of like, yeah, no, I'm just no. The answer's no. And like, and I was okay with stopping the podcast after I didn't do my taxes yet. You know, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna take a break. It's okay. I mean, like you watch TV shows, they take a break,
Yeah. You
right?
know what? Listen, I resonate with what the person you mentioned's name.
Sunrise, yeah.
Yeah,
It's my
Sunrise.
emo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for
I,
Momentum.
I,
She's the one who recommended Momentum to me.
yeah, I've heard her name before. I think I met her like on a stretch night or something, but I heard that name before. Um, I resonate with what she said because and what you're saying about even shows take a
It's
break.
huge to see yourself on TV, to hear yourself talking, and all of these videos of you talking and talking to people. Like I started to like myself. I started to like
Mm,
hear my voice and laugh when I laugh. And like it's been beautiful that I've gained like more confidence doing this that I would this is something that I never thought I would do. So I'm
mm.
constantly wanting to give this to other people and service other people with this too. So
That's so dope. I love that for you. And I love that it helped you connect with yourself,
yeah.
because I think that sometimes folks, and, I could attest to this, we do things that we're not connected to
Yeah.
because, again, people pleasing, all right, or we think it's the right thing to do, or it's the cool thing to do, that we're doing it, but we're not feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
And it becomes like inauthentic. Like, okay,
Yeah.
is this really me? Is this what really people really want?
Mhm.
So I'm happy that you're doing it and that you're feeling that fulfillment.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I create sustainable habits that feels good, right? And that supports.
Yeah.
Um, the work that I do it's really about creating the safe and supportive space for people that not only experience traumatic events, but also are in life's transitions,
Mhm.
right? That are out in the community doing the work, holding the space for people, creating the art, right? My work is for those people as well, because I think what everyone has in common in those groups is that they have a love for what they do and they have a love for service. And sometimes when we have a love for service, including myself, we tend to forget that we get to love ourselves as well and check in. And so with the different specialties that refining emotional wellness offers, we are very, very clear that the safe and the supportive space is created, whether it's virtually or in person. And we get to help people to find ways to emotionally regulate,
Yeah.
right? Through the breath,
Mhm.
right? Through body awareness, through emotional and energy awareness,
Mhm.
right? Your somatic body, your physical body. And like, okay, let's breathe and let's check in. What are you feeling? What
Yeah.
is happening? Right. And oftentimes what I notice is that when you create that safe space as the intention and the foundation, people are more willing to really not only connect with themselves, but to allow themselves to unfold, so they can check in and say, okay, today my body feels tight. Where in your body you feel tight? My chest feels tight.
Mhm.
Okay, so your chest feels tight. Okay, well, let's breathe through that. What's coming up for you in this moment?
Yeah.
And then, I go and ask a series of questions around, hey, when was the last time you allow your heart to receive support or a blessing? When was the last time you were able to, speak your truth, because your heart is connected to your throat,
Yep.
right? And so when we speak about energy wellness, right? Our energy centers, also known as the chakras, that's also our emotional and energetic body, right? It's connected to our body, it's connected to our mind and our spirit and all of the things. So that's not separate, it's all together. So it's like, okay, when was the last time you spoke your truth? Or what is it that you're trying to get out?
Yeah.
Right? Or what are you not letting in? Are you not taking like fully in? Maybe that's why you're probably having challenges breathing. And so it's important to ask these questions from a body and emotional space, because now it's giving people new awareness around their health, around their well-being. And it's like, wow, I've never thought of that. But it's because that thought wasn't planted in your mind, because the physicians that you were working with are not trained to support you in that way. So when you go see a general doctor, your medical general doctor, they're there to make sure you're good and you're functioning. And if you have any other complaints or symptoms around something else, they refer you to a specialist, right? So if your triglyceride is out of whack, it's not stable, right? Now you're being referred to an endocrinologist, right? The doctors that support you with diabetes and high blood pressure and all that, all that management. And so now you're seeing another doctor that perhaps you're probably going to get prescription to support you, which is not a bad thing. But now what?
Yeah.
Now that you have the prescription, now what?
Yeah.
Right? Do your follow-ups appointment, you get the blood work done, but now what? What other places in your lives can you support yourself to actually say, you know what, the medicine is working or is not working, but what else is working and not working in my life that I can actually shift? You know, am I taking on too many projects all at once? Because that impacts your emotional health.
The stress, yeah.
That impacts your physical health, which creates stress. And we hold all of our traumas in our bodies.
Yep.
And for women, we hold it in our hips mainly, right? And so when you feel that stuckness and that tightness and that pain, just check in, take a moment to connect with your breath, take a few seconds of your time and really ask yourself, where do I feel this in my body?
Yeah.
And you can do this not only when you're still, but you can do this in action, right? In conversations with people, you know, when you're having a conversation with somebody and it triggers you, or it takes you to a space where you feel like you're not able to express yourself fully, ask yourself, where do I feel this trigger in my body? And once we can ask ourselves those questions, then we begin to take our power back, right? Now we're taking agency and autonomy over our well-being and modeling that empowers other people. And now we can really get clear on how to emotionally regulate our nervous system.
Yeah.
And once we can practice that, then we are able to co-regulate with other people, right, in the world. And so now it doesn't seem, you can face the challenge on with the appropriate tools to support you.
Yeah.
So, you know, I appreciate you sharing where you are right now, because like you said, someone gets to hear that, right? Someone who's listening right now gets to hear them and be like, wow, she's done all this stuff during COVID, and she's in a space now where she's taking autonomy over her health. And like you said, you don't know what that's going to lead to, but you're in, right? And once you're in it, it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
I'm saying you got to turn out, you just got to stay committed to yourself and that vision that you have for your life and your well-being.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I knew when I got let go, I was like, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to go back to corporate America? I don't know what I'm going to do. But then the podcast started evolving. And originally it started with all like the art shows I was doing. I wanted to hear about the stories of the artists and how they got their hustle to push their art. But then I started talking to my mentor, my English teacher, who, you know, then we started talking into like life and people and all the, you know, different racisms that we went through growing up in Long Island and how it's segregated, you know. And I was like, well, I feel like there's giants among all of us, and I feel like I want to hear everybody's story, because everyone's got a story wherever they grew up and what childhoods they have and tips and tricks that I can, you know, get from people to share with the world. And that's how the podcast has evolved. So it not only helps me, but I feel like it's going to help everybody else to get all the stories out.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's why I love it. And yeah, it totally is like, your feelings and everything that you're going through, if you don't get that out, you're gonna get sick. You know, those emotions that you're holding on to, you're gonna get sick. Like connect my health, because I feel like I just ignored my health for a really long time because I wasn't connected mind, body, and soul. I was literally just ahead trying to just achieve things, get through the goals. And I never understood mental health until I fell into it myself during COVID, you know, because to me it's like just get through it. Just, you know, ignore the triggers and the trauma and just get through everything until everything starts to culminate, like you said, and it turns into a burnout. So,
Yeah.
so
And
I'm
a lot,
trying to get through that burnout.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm happy for you, and I'm happy you're choosing you, because that's a big piece. Choosing yourself
Yeah.
is choosing others, right? Self-care is community care.
Mhm.
It's choosing your tribe, it's choosing your mission, it's choosing, your children as a mom, right? Me choosing my husband as my life partner and the family we get to create. Like, it's me choosing me helps me serve at a much more joyful capacity, you
Yeah.
know. And when a lot of our health issues, yeah, some of them are hereditary, but sometimes some of them are rooted in not being emotionally regulated, right? It's things that we create, and it's hard to really grasp that and understand that. But when we ignore the thing that we're feeling, right, like the neck cramp, we are ignoring, we're saying, hey, I don't matter enough to go get checked out.
Yeah.
I don't matter enough to um feel a sense of relief. I
Mhm.
don't matter enough to just like not have to feel this all the time,
Mhm.
so for you to take the step to care for yourself is important. And I think that when we're, especially adults, right, driven adults that are out here making it happen, in order to thrive in a high level, or in order to just be a great person, you have to take time to check in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really it. And it can be scary for some of us that have been on the go, right? Or have been on autopilot.
Mhm.
But once you tap in, it you can just keep going.
Yeah.
And with the support of the right professionals, your doctors, your healers, your coaches, your community,
Mhm.
you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
And you're
I
you're not
totally
alone in the
agree.
process.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I totally agree. There's so many people I feel like I speak to, from my friends to this, and you know, people I've worked to, or any just people around me. You get little tidbits of, you know, knowledge and wisdom, and then you realize like how to keep going forward with it, and you listen to your body more. And just, I feel like Sunrise had said to me, where she realized she had to just do a year of no, like no, I'm just, everything's gonna be a no unless I really realize and want it to be a yes. And then you'd be able to sit with it, because otherwise you realize you're just people pleasing, and you're just doing it for what reason? You just feel like you're just doing and doing and doing and doing. That I feel like now finally I'm kind of like, yeah, no, I'm just no. The answer's no. And like, and I was okay with stopping the podcast after I didn't do my taxes yet. You know, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna take a break. It's okay. I mean, like you watch TV shows, they take a break,
Yeah. You
right?
know what? Listen, I resonate with what um the person you mentioned's name.
Sunrise, yeah.
Yeah,
It's my
Sunrise.
emo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for
I,
Momentum.
I,
She's the one who recommended Momentum to me.
yeah, I've heard her name before. I think I met her like in a stretch night or something, but I heard that name before. Um, I resonate with what she said, because and what you're saying about even shows take a break.
Yeah.
And the people in your life, or the people that you serve, depending on who those people are, they can take that personal,
Yeah.
right? and be like, well, how dare you take a pause? Or
Mhm.
you're not supposed to, you're supposed to keep going
Yeah.
consistently, right? Or this like urgency of like, you have to do like, there's a difference between like being an urgent person, and there's a difference between urgency culture,
Mhm.
right? I feel like to be an urgent person, you know that right now life and time is of the essence. And if you know that you matter, you will take inspired action now, right? But it has to stem from inspiration, whether you create that for yourself or it's being created or co-created. But urgency culture is capitalistic culture that doesn't work, right? That's burning us out, that's making us feel like we're not enough,
Mhm.
and it's having us be messy all over the place. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so taking that time to pause is important. And I feel like I'm in my second season of a pause. Well, actually, I'm I've been slowly bringing myself back from my second season of pause. So I talked about 2018 when I had the mental health breakdown,
Mhm.
and my life changed. It transformed, right? I got
Yeah.
the help. I went deep into my spiritual and healing and wellness practices, right? Then I started training in the practices that supported me, right, and that helped others, right. And so I've been enjoying and receiving energy work such as Reiki since about 2015, 2016. And my healer at the time, she was just phenomenal in how she created the sessions and how she educated me around the sessions. And I knew that I wanted to tap into that one day, but I wasn't sure. Right. And like I say, yoga and mindfulness was part of my practices since forever. And it's like, okay, all of these modalities really work. And you don't have to be religious to practice them.
Mhm.
Um, I think that you can get what you need from it to support your emotional wellness and your energy wellness. And it also can support you with trauma healing. And so after 2018, and I stepped into this new space of, okay, I want to live, I'm going to take charge of my life. Um, Opportunities for me to train in these modalities presented itself. And so I was a yes to my knowledge, to learning new things. And I started training in Reiki energy healing. I started training in mindfulness and yoga. And I really am a person that when I'm learning something, I like to apply it in real time.
Mhm.
At the same time. And that's how I learn and I'm able to retain information.
Yeah. Practice it.
Yeah, you got to practice what you teach. And
Mhm.
so as I continue healing within and learning these things, I started doing more talking engagements and leading workshops and collaborating with other women that were entrepreneurs and really wanted to learn more about mindfulness and healing and about mental health. And so I started partnering with all these organizations, nonprofit mainly,
Mhm.
and New York City Public Schools. And I started just sharing my personal story, like I'm
Yeah.
doing here, but
Mhm.
then I was also bringing in the mindfulness and the meditation and guiding people to really connect with their bodies and their emotions. And it just started growing. And then my coach at the time, she was like, okay, so what's next? Are you going to just do this and like do it for free, or you're gonna get paid? Like like
Yeah.
what's you're doing this for? And I said, no, I actually want to like start my business. Like I actually want to do this forever because this is what I want. This is what I always wanted when I was doing work in the social services field. I just didn't know what it gets to look like,
Mhm.
right? And so I wasn't ready stepping into entrepreneurship in 2016, where I was just doing things here and there and I was getting
Yeah.
paid for it.
Yeah.
I didn't take it serious. Like I didn't think, little old me is going
Mhm.
to be like an entrepreneur. But in 2019, when my coach called me forward, she was like, okay, what's next? Because you don't like the other stuff you do,
Yeah.
where you experience joy and fulfillment and prosperity. So what's next? And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna file for my LLC. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so the company that I filed under was Refined Inner Being,
Mhm.
right? And so similar to Refining Emotional Wellness, it was just a different name. And things just looked different. I was doing in-person stuff. I was living in New York City at the time, and I was just creating with communities, right? Creating with communities, collaborating with communities. And then COVID happened.
Mhm.
COVID happened. It was like everything changed, right? Everything went virtual. I was already doing virtual stuff, so I was
Yeah.
already prepared. As a matter of fact, I was helping like other schools and stuff because I was collaborating with a lot of schools. I was helping them with like Zoom and the technical stuff because
Oh,
people were
yeah.
freaking out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm here all zinned out, like, guys,
They're like, it's good. We're good. I'll show you how to do it.
yeah, like it's not that serious, right? But I also saw the need, right? People were on flight or fight or freeze. They were all
Yeah,
over.
they were fawning too, right?
Yeah, and I was like, wow, okay, I think that this is the time where I get to really be in service to my coworkers, right? And so I spoke to one of the directors of the program and was like, I had a teaching artist position at a school, and while I was building my business, and I'm like, I would like to, support the staff on Fridays after the after school program is done with like a mindfulness practice. And they were like, yes, we need that. And so I was able to collaborate with that school and, you know, give back, but also share my approach,
Yeah. Yeah.
share these tools. And it just started building from there. And I started just like collaborating with different communities. I was working with a yoga studio virtually. Things were happening. I had my private one-on-one clients.
Mhm.
Things for me during the pandemic, it was actually going really good.
Yeah, because everybody needed that. They needed that mental health. They needed
Yeah.
that
So
one-on-one talking.
yeah, so like the yoga and wellness space, it took its form. You
Mhm.
started to see therapists and healers more online, giving more insight, more like practical support for
Yeah.
people, which was a great thing. And it was also, it was like kind of like a balance because now mental health therapists are booked and then they have to take care of their own health. Healers like myself, we were working and things like that. And then I ended up my husband, we were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. We were in different spaces in our lives. He was getting ready to move to Amsterdam to further his tech career. But where were you going during COVID?
Yeah.
Um, and we just decided to move to Florida.
Mm.
We had an opportunity to move down here, and I was like, okay, well, I'll do it. And we were not even like a year dating,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So this was like a true test to like, does it really matter how long you know this person? Like COVID was the test.
Yeah, yeah, because you're
COVID was,
locked in with them.
yeah, COVID is the test for people that have been in long-term relationships, short-term relationship. Like COVID taught me what mattered
Yeah.
and what didn't deserve my energy. And so we moved to Central Florida, and I'm just like, okay, cool. Culture shock, right? Coming from NYC, Central
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is that I live 7 minutes away from the beach.
Oh,
I made
that's
a,
beautiful.
yeah, and I made a declaration back in 2015 that by 2020 or sooner, I will be living
By the
near
beach.
the beach, by the beach,
Oh, I
and
love
that
it.
I will be doing my life's work
Mhm.
in a warmer climate, and I will be married.
Mm.
Right. And I was already on track with those goals. But I didn't really realize it until I got here. And, you know, COVID was for me a very lucrative time, but it was also very sad, right? And I want to recognize all those that did experience suffering and sickness and grief and death, because I also lost people to COVID. So I want to recognize that. But a lot of people thrived during COVID. A lot of people found themselves, a lot of people, right, left their jobs or got laid off. And those were blessings for people.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people got to know who they were. A lot of people realized they weren't happy in their relationships. Some people took it to the next level. And so it was a lot of things for a lot of different people. I was so grateful because even though I moved to Central Florida and I didn't know anyone, My community in New York, my friends, like my real solid A1 day ones, kept me together, and I kept them together. Until this day, 3 years later, it's still solid in that way. I feel like I've never left New York. Like it's still with me.
Yeah.
It's always going to be with me. But that solid connection has been support. And so I got married during
Mhm.
COVID at the
Yeah.
beach. Like I said, I would want to have a dream wedding, was a beach wedding.
Yeah.
And it was just, everything happened fast, but it happened at a great pace. So for me, it was learning how to trust myself and to trust that what my desires will come true. And my past with depression, trauma, my past with not knowing if my purpose is a healer or it's just a good idea because it sounds cool. Like it didn't matter the low vibration self-talk that I had. It didn't matter because what I prayed for, what I declare, and what I was working towards is here and it's happening and it's still here. And I'm not abandoned, I'm not rejected, right? And so it COVID and up until now changed everything for me. But I went through another season of pause in 2021,
Mhm.
being a newlywed, and feeling like, you know what, things are going great, business is going good. And I got into a car accident.
Oh no.
I was with my nephew and I was the passenger, and this car made a U-turn at the wrong timing, hit us, car went crazy,
Mhm.
and everybody was okay except for me. I broke my right hip and pelvic bone,
Mhm.
and I was out of commission for a whole year, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to walk again. So I was bedridden for 3 months
Mhm.
because I broke my hip and I didn't get a hip replacement. I had to get it like, metal and stuff. It's called ORTIF, open reduction internal fixation. And so what they do is they piece everything together. And
Ah,
so,
so wait, they didn't want to do a hip replacement, or they?
so keep in mind, I live in Central Florida,
Yeah.
which is a very racist and Republican state.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Black people and people of color and women, they don't give a shit. So I had to fight for a lot of things while I was at the hospital. My husband was a very big advocate and support
Mhm.
through that, because of the way that they look at me, right? And
Yeah.
my husband.
Yeah.
And it was tough because although I was advocating for myself, it was taken as if I was being disruptive,
Yeah. Yeah.
all of the things. But in all reality, I know my shit. I've worked in the medical industry, social
Yeah.
services.
They
I
don't
know
know who they're messing with
technology,
right now.
and I'm an advocate, and I help people advocate for themselves. Like, okay, I'm whatever you want me to be. But what I know, that I know I have rights, and I know that I'm going to be loud about it. And so, it was tough. So yeah, it was tough. So I wasn't eligible for a hip replacement because of my BMI. I think if your BMI is over 40 or 35, you are considered obese and you're not eligible for the hip replacement, which I thought it was nonsense.
What?
Um,
It's
because
crazy.
I know a lot of people that are in more larger bodies than mine that have that have hip replacement. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I keep saying hip replacements,
Yeah.
and they're thriving.
Yeah.
Um, and I said, okay, if this other procedures was what worked best, fine. I had to rush into like surgery when I got into the hospital, and then get a second surgery, which was the hip
Yeah.
situation. So it was a lot. My health in 2021 completely transformed. Like I was like, holy moly. And going back to 2018, and all of the tools that I've developed and cultivated up until 2021, I knew, again, there comes a point in your life when your wisdom is golden, and you trust that wisdom, and you trust God, right? You trust your higher power, and you're like, okay, and then you trust the people around you that's going to support you. There's this shift and it's surrender, because I didn't have control. You know what I'm saying? Like when the accident happened, I didn't have control on how that accident ended. All I remember was praying the Lord's Prayer in my head as it was happening, because it was happening. And all I knew is that, damn, if I can get through this, I'm unstoppable. I'm undefeated. And I mean this with conviction, right? Not with arrogance, like conviction. Like if I make it through this shit,
Yeah.
what? And I made it.
Oh my
I made
God.
it.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, yeah, almost 3 years in January. It'll be 3 years in January. Wow, three. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I was going through PTSD. And I'm still experiencing trauma impact from this accident, but I have the tools and I have the resources, and we got to remind ourselves that healing takes time.
Yeah.
And you cannot do all the things and think that that's it, you're done. You cannot do all the things. You have to give it time. You have to integrate it. You have to nurture it. You have to understand it. You have to be with each process, with each layer, because each layer is going to show you
Yeah.
and who you're becoming. Each layer is going to bring you to a different space. And then there's that part of peace and acceptance with self, because I had to make peace with myself that I am no longer going to be that yoga instructor that I used to be. um, um, and it was not that I had a look or anything. It was more like there's like now the trauma informed yoga trainings and the chair yoga trainings. Now this is where really, now I could really speak to people, because I knew what it was to have a disabled body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? I know what it is to have mental health illnesses,
Yeah.
and I know what it is to no longer identify with depression. Do I get sad? Yes. Did I get sad and down during that phase of the accident? Absolutely. Did I self-sabotage? Yes. But my husband was by my side, and he will bring me back. And then I will bring myself back.
Yeah.
And then I was co-creating with the divine, with God. And it just continued to help me. And then my community of healers and wellness warriors and yoga teachers and my friends, they poured into me. Like I didn't need for nothing. My husband didn't need for nothing. It was very hard because it was just us two.
Yeah.
But when people showed up, they showed up, from afar. People traveled down here to support us. It was one of those moments that I had to remind myself again, I matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this unfortunate, tragic situation that I almost died, I matter. And I also had to make peace that there were people in my life that weren't able to fully show up for me. And I had to make peace with that as well. Right. And so I share this other part and identifying what you and your friend Sunrise said about sometimes you have to be in a season of no. You have to be in a season of pause. You have to be in a season where you have to start over again. And this was my season to start over again because my identity shift, I became a wife months before. I moved into a new city, not knowing anyone. Now my life's work evolves.
Yeah.
But I have to really now work on me, and I have to start over. I had to learn how to walk again, like a little girl. Like I had to learn, I was in a wheelchair, had to work my way into a walker, work my way into a cane to work myself being able to walk on my own. And that took a whole year, and then when I thought I was good, I said, okay, I want to give back to my community. And I started offering free virtual offerings to my community.
Yeah.
And my community showed up because it was me, right? But in all reality, I still wasn't feeling whole, right? And so I said, wow, I can still show up messy, and I'm still loved and accepted, and people still get value.
Yeah.
But what the shift happened was, I don't get to do this to myself anymore. I get to actually stop offering my support. And I get to be with all of this because now I'm noticing that I was trying to avoid some stuff that I was experiencing in this healing process. So I wanted to throw myself back into service.
Like what? What were you avoiding?
I was avoiding that I was self-medicating with painkillers.
Yeah.
And how I stopped was my husband noticed. He noticed that the pills, like the like I was like, oh, get a refill. He goes, well, I just got a refill. And
Yeah.
when he would look,
Yeah.
because again, he was giving me autonomy to take my own medicine,
Yeah.
right? But he noticed, he was like, wait a minute, no wonder you're always sleeping. You're taking
Too much.
the muscle relaxer with the painkiller.
Yeah.
Like he started
All of
asking me,
that stuff is addictive. So
yeah.
that
He
stuff
started,
is really gonna get you there. Especially, I mean, you're in a lot of pain. So you just want this pain to go away.
yeah. And so he was like, wait a minute, you're like, what are, like, you're trying to harm yourself. He goes, you work so hard to be in a place where you don't have to depend on things to feel good. Like, and so I went back to, talk therapy and, was doing the physical therapy, doing all of the things. And so I kind of got off of the medication. And then that's when I went back to Reiki
Mhm.
energy healing, which supports you with alleviating pain, helping your body get into deep rest.
Yeah.
Right. And so, although I can self heal myself with Reiki, I just didn't have the capacity. So, this is where I leaned into my healers,
Yeah.
and they would support me long distance virtually.
Yeah.
And, that's when I knew the power of energy healing. Like, you don't have to be in the same place physically to
Mhm.
heal. And I realized that, wow, this really helped me, and it helped my pain to the point that I don't feel pain anymore.
Wow.
My
Really?
my chiropractor was like, you're gonna have arthritis, you're gonna have this, you're gonna like my
Yeah.
arthritis, he really thought he was I don't know if he was setting me up to fail, but he just said all of these things to
Yeah.
me. Like, if I don't prepare, if I don't do this, I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to have pain. And honestly, I don't experience pain. Do I get sore? Yes. But I have to stretch my body and I have the tools. I'm a yoga teacher. Like, I
Yeah.
know what to do. I know that if I need to go back to physical therapy, then I'll do that, But yeah, when it rains, I do feel aches in my body, but the arthritis stuff, no.
Wow.
And
That's
Reiki,
amazing.
yeah, energy healing helped me, but I allow my support to help
Mhm.
me heal.
So you
So
got energy healing from people from afar.
yes, from afar.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Because
so my
I've done a little bit of that as well. Because I'm like, I'm gonna try everything, So I've done that
Mhm.
too, where someone's done like literally like a Reiki surgery on my body, and she's I think she was in I forgot where she was, but possibly Florida. But
Mhm.
yeah, like she would tap into something and she'd be like, okay, I think there's something going on here. I'm like, well, how would she know? Because she doesn't know me from a hole in a wall. How would she feel that? So to me, it was like fascinating that someone can tap into that. So
Yeah, Reiki energy healing is connected to your emotional healing. It's connected to your mental health. It's connected to all of your bodies.
yeah,
And I think when the world realizes that this is a big component to your healing and your suffering and your diagnosis, we will live in a different world. Because if you think about it, there are over 100 hospitals and institutes in the United States of America that offers Reiki energy therapy healing.
wow, that's
You
amazing.
and Lango Cancer Center in New York is one of those places,
Mhm.
right? And they do it specifically for people going through chemo and radiation.
Yeah,
Right. So imagine that, right? And that's helping
amazing.
helping those folks to experience a sense of deep rest and relief, right? Because that is a very invasive process.
Yes.
You're going through chemo and radiation.
Mhm.
And so for me, it helped me get into deep rest. It helped me emotionally regulate my nervous system because on I was on freeze mode,
Yeah,
what I mean? And I was going through the PTSD even when I would get in the car with my husband, I thought we were going to crash, and I was reliving the
Yeah.
experience over and over, and talk therapy definitely wasn't supportive at all. So I
Mhm.
had to tap into somatic therapy, which is they bringing the mind and the body connection together,
Mhm.
and things like that. And then that's when I began. I was already, what's so crazy was right before my accident, I was already training through somatic therapy, right?
Wow.
And so I had to, like I said, I had to stop.
Yeah.
And I had to say, okay, overachieving Alex, you get to chill out and let the support be given. This is how you're going to learn.
Yeah.
And then when you are present, then you
Yeah.
can go back and study and then give back to your,
Mhm.
community. But all of these modalities support you. Well, Reiki particularly is simply a universal harmonizing energy that is just beautiful, right? My hands is connecting to your existence,
Energy. Yeah.
and I'm sending that energy healing, right, from the root of your head to the ground, and you just enjoy your 45 minutes to an hour experience, right? We debrief in the beginning and at the end. And with me, because I'm multidisciplinary, I provide you with other modalities like breath work. If movement calls for that moment, we'll do some trauma-informed yoga just to connect with the sensations of your body and help you with choice making. You know what I mean? Bringing in, the different aspect of somatic release and things in that nature. So, my Reiki sessions is not just a Reiki session, it's an immersive
Yeah.
session, right? So you're not just getting a Reiki session, you're actually getting that and then some,
You
right?
bring also your whole tribe of people too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
amazing.
just think of your Reiki session as a day at the spa.
Yeah.
So my business is transforming as we speak.
Yeah.
So I changed the name of my business to Refining Emotional Wellness. Um, Before it was formerly known as Refined Inner Being. And I changed the name because I realized refined is like all the impurities, everything taken out and a finished product.
Mm.
But we're not ever a finished product. We are art in motion, right? We're masterpiece in creative motion. And refining ing is the present moment. It's continuous learning, continuous evolving, because that's who we are. We're becoming,
Yeah.
And so refining was, I felt like it was important for me to change that, because refining is now, it's
Yeah.
the future. And then emotional wellness, I wanted to get really clear, right? Because it was refined inner being, right? The inner being of yourself. But the emotional wellness for me was important because when I started really learning more about nervous system um, regulation and healing, I realized that was a big part of my work that I wanted to um, really grasp and be an expert around it, because sometimes we are regulating our nervous systems and we don't realize that we're doing it, right? Or sometimes we don't realize that we're dysregulated, or we don't realize that we're around certain environments and people, we're co-regulating in dysfunctional ways,
Yeah.
right? And so how can we tap in our emotions, right, and our energy in a way that is functional, healthy, and empowering, right? How can I equip my community with those tools? And so the emotional wellness and the name of the business was very important for me to be like, okay, we do specialize in emotional wellness, but inside emotional wellness is energy wellness, it's mindfulness, it's somatics, it's yoga, it is also community care.
Yeah.
And so as the business is evolving, I realized that I was afraid to bring all of these modalities into one space.
Mhm.
And so I said, okay, now it's time to not just serve people with the sessions, it's time to train people. I mean, equip them, right? And so during my healing session, so I became a Reiki practitioner in 2018.
Mhm.
And so I became a Reiki level 1 practitioner in level 1 in 2018, and then a level 2 in 2020. So I took 2 years in the making to really like dive into what it means to be a Reiki practitioner, and then
Yeah.
provide long distance. And then in 2021, during my recovery process, towards like the tail end, like once I already like started learning how to walk, I reached out to my mentor. She was doing a Reiki master training online, and I signed up for it.
Mm.
And I said, okay, Reiki master training teacher online, what is your intention, Alex? And my intentions was to equip others to self-heal, and with that, heal their families and their communities. Right. And so I was like, all right, cool. I did the Reiki master teacher training. I was like, all right, cool. Okay, stop the trainings. Stop the trainings. I've done so many trainings. Apply. Right? Because now, you can have all the certification and degrees and accolades. What are you doing with them?
Yeah.
Right? And do
Yeah.
you trust yourself to create this thing? And so when I was transforming my business, I said, okay, right now, many things would be virtual. I'm still new to Central Florida because I moved in during COVID, so I couldn't really meet people. And I had the accident, so I really couldn't be around people like that.
Yeah.
Now that I'm kind of like a free woman, what does this look like in this community where it's very
Yeah.
Republican
It's
and
new
conservative?
canvas of yours, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, this is a very conservative state. What does this look like here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but gratefully, my husband has a cousin who is an artist out here and very much community driven, and so she's a great resource, and she's been connecting me with um like this mental health professional who's been doing like health fairs. And so I've been supporting with mindfulness, and participated in an event back in June
Mhm.
for Mental Health Awareness Day. And so I'm like, all right, I'm back in my stomping grounds of mental wellness, full circle moment. And so I led a mindful walk and a mindfulness session. And I said, okay, this is great. And then in July, I went back to New York City,
Mhm.
and I decided to have an event for my NYC community,
Mm.
and kind of a welcome back type of thing, because it's been a minute. And I did a yoga and self-compassion mindfulness, which is one of Refining Emotional Wellness signature events. And so I did that at the Brooklyn Wellness Club in Bed-Stuy, and that was really beautiful. And even prior to that, I did a retreat upstate New York, supporting midwives with Reiki energy healing with Black Women Blueprint and Hey They're Beautiful, nonprofit organization. So my work is very intimate, and it's very mighty. So I have this great joy of supporting other organizations that want to add this as an addition, right? So working with space holders and cycle breakers. And so I started seeing the shift of how I was showing up as a leader and a healer. And I started noticing like the demographics of people, like, okay, this is shifting. And then I realized, like, wait a minute, I get to have my own space. And this space gets to be a space where people feel reset, they recover, they retreat, they come in community. It's not only healing and wellness that happens here, right? Discussions can happen here, creative things can happen here. What does that look like? And so I am currently in the process of starting a sanctuary down here in Central Florida.
Ooh,
So that's going to take a while, but it should be a grand opening next year
yeah.
around this time. And so that's the evolvement. So a healing arts sanctuary in
Mhm.
Central Florida coming in late 2024.
Love it.
Um, and that will be
What
that
cities?
will so I live in a small beach town called New Smyrna Beach, Florida. And New Smyrna Beach is 30 minutes away from Daytona Beach and an hour from Orlando.
Okay.
All right, so it's around that area. So this space here, it's very quiet. The beach is 7 minutes away, so we have resources, right, to like have experiences on the beach if we so choose to. But this sanctuary is going to be a place where people are going to learn how to, you know, they're going to learn about Reiki. They're going to learn about emotional wellness. They're going to learn about herbs, right? Herbalism. They're going to learn about what it means to be in community. So my goal by 2025 or sooner is to build 100 trauma-informed communities through these holistic and mindfulness practices. Because it's time. Like, it's one thing going to see a doctor, going to see a therapist, but then how about the training? How can you take these practical practices and have them for yourself, right? The tangible, like leave with tangible support, and then help yourself and then help others while you're at it, if you so choose to, right? So this sanctuary is going to be built from scratch. I already have the property, and so I just got to build from scratch up, and I'm working on what that looks like, because it's going to be a very intimate space. I'm really connecting with the feeling of it, that home away from home. This is open for not only Florida residents, but people that want to travel and work with me and the team that I'm calling in to create and build. And so I'm excited for this. So
Yeah, I mean, it sounds amazing.
follow me on social media. I haven't really shared like publicly.
Yeah.
Now people that's listening is gonna
Now
know.
everyone who hears this will know.
But I think for me right now, I'm in a space where I've been working with the business incubator. So I was like accepted to this business incubator program.
Ooh, it sounds
So
awesome.
yeah. So it's supporting me with developing this
Yeah.
business model and this plan. It's a lot of work, and I'm being very intentional because being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is one thing, but being an entrepreneur is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm learning what it means to be an entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work, and it's not easy. And having the support with the business incubator is a saving grace.
Yeah.
And so I want the sanctuary to happen right now, but I also know that the development of it gets to be done in a way that's supportive. And, it'll happen, right? It'll get built, things will change, things will evolve. I will learn, right? I will make mistakes. But I made a lot of mistakes when I started my original business, and I'm still making mistakes, okay? Entrepreneurs make mistakes.
Yeah.
And we trying to figure this shit out as we go. But I'm in a space where I'm curious, I'm excited, and I'm allowing this to unfold in a way that God wants it to unfold, that the universe wants it to unfold. And I'm excited for the people that get to experience it, because it's not going to be like no other place.
I know. I'm super excited about this. And how did you get connected with the business incubator? Was it part of something for Florida, or was it like
Yeah, so it's part of the small business, the SBA, Small Business Administration here. And so I live in a county called Volusia County. And so Volusia County supports small business owners with different types of mentorship, finance support, funding support, for small businesses. Now, in this part of Central Florida, a lot of the businesses are driven by service work, like hospitality and service work, a lot of tech stuff, but not too much health and wellness stuff. So when I'm in these like business incubators, I'm like always, if there's sometimes doctors there, right? But these doctors, they're more tech driven. For me, I'm like holistic, trauma informed.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of people are not very well aware of my industry. And so this is my opportunity to educate people and also create that lane, right? That I'm creating in this industry, right? But also bringing people along for the ride, because I believe that everyone can shine. It's not, all of this is not all for me. Like, I am not a person that is withholding with information. I'm very generous with my resources. And so, yeah, so I found it through the SBA. I started Googling, ran into one thing, ran into another. I ran into like a workshop on an extensive on how to like innovate your current or future business models. And then I took it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Mhm.
my God, this sounds amazing. I'm so excited. I can't wait to visit this new sanctuary of yours.
Please, please tell everybody.
I know. I'm excited. I have family down in Florida, so I'll have to do a little road trip down there and then come see your place when it's done.
Yes. Hopefully you
I,
can come for grand opening next year.
yeah, I love it. I'm excited. Keep me posted. Um, I'm so appreciative that we got to catch up on this, and this has been a beautiful time and space to be able to chat with you, to find all the stories of your evolution and how it's evolving and this new adventure that you're, evolving into. So I'm so happy for you. And thank you so much for joining me. Anything else, last words that you would like to give out to the people, advice, anything?
Yes. Listen, if you resonated with my story, if you're curious about, having a one-on-one session with me and experiencing the healing and wellness support, or if you're looking to be trained as a Reiki level 1 practitioner, definitely reach out to me at www.refiningemotionalwellness.com. There you find like my services. If you don't see anything that makes sense, or maybe you're looking for something more tailored, that's great. There's the contact us section of the website, and you can fill in your information, and I will email you back with that, and then we can tailor something according to what your needs are. And if you're someone in the corporate space or looking to create retreats, I also do that. That's actually where I thrive, and what I love doing the most is group settings. You can also use the contact us page as well. Sign up to our newsletter, right? You can also do that there on the website. I'm going to be showcasing some new virtual offerings in November and December, and some in-person events here in Central Florida as well. And I'm also opening my virtual one-on-one Reiki sessions starting the end of, well, starting next week. We're in October, right? Yeah, starting next
Yeah.
week. So if you are looking to you know, experience Reiki for yourself, definitely book a one-on-one Reiki session with me at www.refiningemotionalwellness.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Refining Emotional Wellness. And if you want to follow my personal Instagram, which is really interesting because I post whatever I want. I'm not like branding myself all the time. Like that's just not my jam. I just like to post like my real life.
People love to
um,
see real life stuff.
yeah. So you could follow me at Alex_of_REW on Instagram.
I love
Oh,
it.
and
Oh,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
Sorry, LinkedIn, Alexandra Cummings 07.
Okay. I love it. Thank you so much for joining
That's so
me.
fun.
The time was beautiful, and I can't wait to edit this and get this out so everybody else can, get some, help that they need for, the emotional stuff that they're going through, PTSD and all the Reiki and everything that you're doing. I thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes, let's partner
Healing.
up and heal. Let's partner up and heal. You are
Yes.
undefeated. You are undefeated. Like any challenge that you're going through, you can grow through it.
Yeah.
So let's partner up together. And maybe I may not be able to help you, but I have so many resources, and I have a big community that can support you in
Yeah.
your needs.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have
And
a great day.
so much fun.
It's huge to see yourself on TV, to hear yourself talking, and all of these videos of you talking and talking to people. Like I started to like myself. I started to like
Mm.
hear my voice and laugh when I laugh, and like it's been beautiful that I've gained like more confidence doing this. That I would this is something that I never thought I would do. So I'm
Mhm.
constantly wanting to give this to other people and service other people with this too. So
That's so dope. I love that for you. And I love that it helped you connect with yourself,
yeah,
because I think that sometimes folks, and, I could attest to this, we do things that we're not connected to
yeah,
because, again, people pleasing, all right, or we think it's the right thing to do, or it's the cool thing to do, that we're doing it, but we're not feeling fulfilled.
yeah.
And it becomes like inauthentic. Like, okay,
Yeah.
is this really me? Is this what really people really want?
Mhm.
So I'm happy that you're doing it and that you're feeling that fulfillment.
Yeah.